Hey, what's up, y'all? So, somebody wanted me to speak on hitting rock bottom, then turning your whole life around. Now, there may be a little bit of personal experience in here, but I don't feel propelled to do it because I don't feel like I turned my whole life around. By the way, I'm kind of sick, so bear with me. But I have hit my rock bottom many times, and my rock bottom may not be as bad as somebody else's, of course, and and some people probably didn't have it as bad as me. But I think some of the things that I'll be speaking about, uh, some of the rules, uh, will apply, just because of the way that I go about things, my methods. Um, so let's say that I did hit rock bottom. Let's say I was at rock bottom right now. Also, a lot of the progress that I make has a lot to do with my willingness to just cut shit out of my life. So that's the thing. So it's gonna be hard for me to touch on everything, but I think it's pretty safe to say that one of the first things that you can do is to cut out all the things that help you get there. You know what I'm saying? So if you were too dependent, you cut that out. If you have a problem with alcoholism, then you cut that out. I mean, I do things cold turkey, and I don't expect for everybody to do that because there's prerequisites that get people to the point of having to drink every day, having to smoke every day, having to use drugs every day. Um, I don't know too much about the drug culture, but it almost certainly doesn't happen overnight, and it probably starts before drug use even happens. It takes place in the home, but again, if I was at rock bottom, I'd try to think about all the things that I could take out of my life to strip me even further, which sounds very counterproductive. The reason why I wouldn't believe this would be the popular choice among people is to make things even worse. All right, is to rip off the bandages. You know, something I always like to talk about. Reminds me of this documentary I was watching about the wolf man, the dude who lived among wolves. And what he said was like the wolves, because they're so aggressive, they would leave him having to get stitches. And what would happen is that he'd get stitches and he would come back to them and they would kind of rip the stitches off of him and then they'll lick the wounds and it healed faster. So, translation, get rid of those stitches or those crutches. All right, let's just go with stitches. Get rid of those stitches, lick your wounds. By the way, in between that, it's a setback because now your wound is exposed again. And you take a different path, a path that's more, I don't know, more natural. Just lick your wounds, all right. Put it that way. Lick your wounds. Um, it's funny because that's an expression, isn't it? Lick your wounds or whatever. That may be a thing. So yeah, you want to lick your wounds, man. And after talking to uh certain people and just reading what's out there, hearing from people, I realized one thing about myself that really allows me to make a certain amount of growth is that I can sit in a dark room with all of my mess, all of the madness, all of the bullshit. It's because I've been suicidal many times, and again, my own form of rock bottom, and I didn't find my way all the way at rock bottom just so I could start lying to myself. And lying to myself is not what's going to save me. Outside of, and this is where I think it's acceptable to lie, outside of these positive affirmations, outside of seeing something that is not within your reach at this current moment. All right, that's how you give yourself hope, some faith, something to work forward to. Um, but other than that, man, I will sit with the bullshit no matter how bad it makes me feel. I have to get to the root of it. I just have to. Which, and every time I talk about the root, it brings me to the first book that I wrote, The Roots of Metanoia, and you can go ahead and check that out in the description. Although I would recommend checking out some of my newer ones because I think I was very politically correct and a lot less knowledgeable than I am now, as a dichotomy. But yeah, so I would always start there, and like a game of Tetris, I will start with the ground level blocks, and I always think about what can I do to fill those voids that are left behind. And if I'm giving up alcoholism, let's say I'm an addict, and me personally, I think that I somewhat am. I just have an addictive personality. So I try to steer clear of a lot of the things that can really do me in. But I'm just really streaky in all that I do. So it's best that I get the hamster wheel going as far as things that's actually going to add to the quality of my life. So now we're talking about filling the void. So what you may find is that some people who quit alcohol and smoking cigarettes or whatever, they fill the void by working out more, which I mean you gotta love, you know, and that's a high. That works your dopamine receptors, and all the while you're giving yourself a dopamine fast by abstaining from drinking and smoking. So that works, but you gotta fill the void. And it's like if you have a tough time breaking habits, well then what I would say in that case is that instead of trying to get rid of these habits just cold turkey, even though I'm big on that, it's easier to incorporate new habits into your life. Once you incorporate new habits into your life, it is a segue to get away from the uh, negative habits, the bad habits, the ones that really, really stunt your growth. But I feel like hitting rock bottom is a very good thing because, uh, like every step you take forward, every step you take, you're going forward. Like it's only up from here. You know, the problem is when a lot of people they find them when they're at the top and they never actually hit rock bottom, they're too afraid to take chances. When you're at rock bottom, you like, man, I got nothing to lose. You can be very risky in a good way. You can be very scrappy and humble and appreciative of the things that do come into your life. So then when you do get on top, whatever that means for you, you're not afraid to lose it all because one, I mean, you already lost it. You already had nothing before. You knew how to operate without it. And two, you're going to be so appreciative and extremely conscious that how could you lose it? All right. All right. So, but hopefully, you don't forget where you came from and then, you find yourself crashing back down. It's only but so many times a person can take that seriously. And people have ended their lives for less. Um, so, that's the positive is that you have everything to gain. You know what it feels like. And you can use that as fuel to get to where you need to be. This is only going to build up your grit and your willpower, and it's going to give you a great deal of wisdom and testimony to pass on to the kids, people who come after you. So, in a sense, even though when you're going through it, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, it's a privilege. It's definitely a privilege. And I think about this often is that because it's like we've been programmed in some weird way where it's like we denounce people who haven't had any struggle. We say, "Oh, you ain't been about this life. Your mommy and your daddy took care of you and all." But as a parent, like, why would I want my daughter to struggle the way I did? You know, if I want my daughter to have struggle, but I want it to be controlled struggle. I don't want her to be Now, I don't want her story to be, oh yeah, my fucking parents were crackheads, and sometimes we had to go without eating, and just all of like, come on now. It may not make for a great story to say, yeah, my parents provided for me my whole life, and I went to the top schools, or I was homeschooled, whatever. But that's what we want for our kids. This is why we do these things, so they don't have to be at rock bottom. I would never want to see my child at rock bottom. I would instantly feel like a failure. All right, so I mean, it's kind of besides the point, but still, man. So let's kind of recap real quick so I can see if I forgot anything. So you cut things out, then you start where you are, and you really meditate on what's missing. So you start incorporating new practices. Also, because I said meditate, you always want to incorporate time for introspection. Make sure that you're finding some great deal of clarity. And also, when we're talking about better habits, we're talking morning routines. So you definitely want to incorporate those morning routines that's going to keep the momentum going. That's going to be habitual. Just something you can look forward to, something you can rely on. You know what to do in the moment. You get out, you wake up, you get out of bed, and and then you just keep planning and spend less time engaging in negative activities. Engaging in things that's going to make you think in a negative manner is really important. So, like I was telling somebody yesterday on a post in Quora, is this, you start your day off feeding yourself negativity, or you start your day off with scrolling down the news feed, and there's no telling what you're gonna run into when you're scrolling down the news feed. Then you're really setting yourself up to have a bad day. And to have a good day, you want to start off with the positive stuff, man, because your mind is extremely impressionable when you wake up. And I think those are a few steps that you can take to get yourself from rock bottom. And to turn your life around completely, you just got to ride that momentum. Take it from me personally. Going up and down and up and down and up and down, man, it's more tiring than just being down the whole time, because people can find a way to find comfort in being down. And I don't want that for you. I want it to be a constant increase until there is an inevitable plateau where you can say, I'm happy. And I mean, who's to say that it ever will be a plateau once you reach a level of happiness? Hopefully you do things that that bring the happiness to you, no matter where you are in your journey. Understand that the journey is the way, and don't get weighed down by the size of the mountain, understanding that you can't jump from the ground and get to the top anyway. Nobody can. All right, so you just climb and you climb, but you be ever so consistent at it, which is the genius of it all, and what the hardest part, but doable. But I think the biggest takeaway from everything that I just said is cutting out the things that got you to where you were. They got you to rock bottom. Something got you there. You need to figure that out. All right? And then with that void, like I said, add to it. I'm not going to be too redundant, because I want to give you as much value as possible. But if I miss anything, there will be, I will speak a little bit more on that. So, but I hope this helps. Like and subscribe. Check out all my videos. I'm at over 200 videos. There'll be more content coming soon. I might record as soon as this is finished, but I feel like trash right now, But whatever. See you.